There is a photograph from Easter Sunday that tells you everything you need to know about the British monarchy in 2026. It was taken outside St George's Chapel at Windsor Castle on April 5th. In the photograph, you can see King Charles III and Queen Camilla. You can see Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. You can see their 3 children: Prince George, now 12 years old, Princess Charlotte, 10, and Prince Louis, 7. You can see Princess Anne. You can see Prince Edward and his son James, the Earl of Wessex. You can see Peter Phillips and his fiancée, Harriet Spurling. And if you look at that photograph long enough, what you notice is not who is in it, it is who is not. Andrew is not there. Sarah Ferguson is not there. Princess Beatrice is not there. Princess Eugenie is not there. Prince Harry is not there. Meghan is not there. Zara and Mike Tyndall are not there. That photograph, taken on the most important family day of the Christian calendar, is a portrait of a dynasty that has been reduced. Not by age, not by natural attrition, by scandal, by choice, by exile, and by a series of decisions, some forced, some voluntary, that have left the House of Windsor smaller and more fractured than it has been at any point in modern memory. And at the centre of that photograph, standing in a cream-belted dress by the London-based brand Self-Portrait, wearing a hat by Juliet Botterill, was Catherine, the Princess of Wales. She was attending Easter at Windsor for the first time in 2 years. The last time she walked through those chapel doors was 2023, before a cancer diagnosis turned her world inside out, before months of chemotherapy, before a period of recovery so private that even the palace seemed unsure how to discuss it publicly. In January 2025, Kate announced she was in remission. In March of this year, she revealed that she had been limiting her alcohol intake as part of her ongoing recovery. And on Sunday, she was there, walking with her children, standing beside her husband, present. The emotional weight of that return cannot be overstated. For 2 years, the British public has watched Kate's absence from royal events with a mixture of concern, sympathy, and quiet anxiety about what it meant for the monarchy's future. Kate is not just a wife and a mother. She is the bridge between the current generation of the monarchy and the next. She is the person who, alongside William, will one day occupy the throne. Her health is not a private matter in the way that most people's health is. It is, whether anyone likes it or not, a matter of institutional stability. And she was back. That was the good news. The deeply moving, quietly triumphant good news of Easter Sunday 2026. Now, here is the other news. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, the man who was once second in line to the British throne, the man who was born a prince and raised in palaces and served in the Falklands War and spent decades as one of the most visible members of the royal family, that man spent Easter Sunday at Sandringham, alone, walking his dogs, while his brother, the king, stood in the chapel at Windsor and celebrated the resurrection. The symbolism is almost too precise. Resurrection for one branch of the family, exile for another. Let us be specific about what has happened to Andrew, because the timeline of his fall is unlike anything the modern monarchy has experienced. In October 2025, it emerged that Andrew had been paying a peppercorn rent for Royal Lodge, his 30-room estate near Windsor, under a lease that was supposed to protect him until 2078. Later that same month, Buckingham Palace served formal notice to surrender the lease. The Crown Estate clarified that Andrew would receive no compensation. On February 2, 2026, Andrew left Royal Lodge. He moved to Wood Farm on the Sandringham estate, the same modest property where Prince Philip spent his final years of retirement. It was supposed to be temporary accommodation, while his permanent new residence, Marsh Farm, underwent renovation. And then, 17 days later, on the morning of his 66th birthday, February 19, 2026, police arrived at Sandringham and arrested Andrew Mountbatten Windsor on suspicion of misconduct in public office. It was the first arrest of a senior member of the British royal family since King Charles I in 1647. That is not a comparison that anyone at the palace wants to dwell on, given that Charles I's arrest led to his beheading and the temporary abolition of the monarchy. Andrew was questioned for 11 hours at Aylsham police station. He was released under investigation. He has not been charged. The investigation is ongoing. The allegation centres on whether Andrew, while serving as the UK's Special Representative for International Trade and Investment, shared confidential government documents with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Documents released by the US Justice Department in January appear to show communications between Andrew and Epstein relating to trade trips to Singapore, China, Hong Kong and Vietnam between 2010 and 2011. The family of Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's most prominent accusers, released a statement on the day of Andrew's arrest. Giuffre died by suicide in 2025 at the age of 41. Her siblings said, "At last, today, our broken hearts have been lifted at the news that no one is above the law, not even royalty. He was never a prince." King Charles released his own statement. He said he had learned with the deepest concern the news about Andrew and that the law must take its course. He pledged the family's full and wholehearted support and cooperation with the investigation. And then, 6 weeks later, on Easter Sunday, the visible consequence of all of that played out on the steps of a 15th century chapel. Andrew was not there. His ex-wife was not there. And, for the first time, his daughters made the decision, reportedly with the king's approval, to stay away as well. A royal source told ABC News that it was Beatrice and Eugenie's decision to skip the Easter service and that it does not mean they will not attend future engagements. But the message is hard to miss. Two young women who grew up in the heart of the royal family, who attended every Christmas and every Easter for their entire lives, chose not to stand next to their cousins on the most public day of the royal calendar. Whether that choice was driven by grief, by embarrassment, by solidarity with their father, or by simple self-preservation, the result is the same. The Andrew branch of the Windsor family tree has been functionally severed from the public face of the institution. And while all of this was happening at Windsor, in the background, another absence echoed: Harry. The last time Harry attended a royal family event in the United Kingdom was Queen Elizabeth's funeral in September 2022. Since then, nothing. No Christmas at Sandringham, no Easter at Windsor, no Trooping the Colour, no family photograph. He was in London for weeks in January and February, sitting in a courtroom fighting the Daily Mail's publisher. Neither his father nor his brother visited him. When the trial concluded, he flew back to California. And right now, as of this recording, Harry and Meghan are days away from landing in Australia for a commercial tour that has already generated a petition with more than 35,000 signatures from Australians who do not want their tax dollars spent on what they call a private celebrity visit. The petition language is sharp. It reads that since stepping down from royal duties in 2020, Harry and Meghan no longer represent the Crown and now operate private commercial ventures from the United States. 35,000 signatures, and climbing. Meanwhile, in Melbourne, the organisers of the Inter-Edge Psychosocial Safety Summit, where Harry is scheduled to deliver his keynote, have quietly adjusted their ticket pricing. Reports from Radar Online indicate that new, more affordable tiers have been introduced after the initial premium packages, Platinum at $2,378, Gold at $1,978, apparently failed to generate the demand the organisers expected. When you have to cut ticket prices a week before the event, that is not dynamic pricing. That is a signal. So here is the state of the House of Windsor on Easter Sunday 2026. The King is preparing for the most important diplomatic mission of his reign, a state visit to Washington, where he will address Congress for the first time. Kate is back, visibly recovered, standing as the emotional anchor of the next generation of the monarchy. Andrew is in exile, under criminal investigation, separated from his daughters on the holiest day of the year. Harry is on the other side of the world, days away from a commercial tour that half of Australia appears to resent. Beatrice and Eugenie are making alternative plans. And the family that once filled the steps of St. George's Chapel with a wall of coordinated outfits and practiced smiles now leaves gaps that no amount of careful staging can hide. The photograph from Easter Sunday 2026 will be studied for years, not for what it shows, but for what it tells you about what has been lost. A family that once projected unity as its most important product now projects something far more human and far more painful. The visible evidence of fractures that may never fully heal. Kate is back. Andrew is gone. Harry is absent. And the monarchy walks forward, smaller than it was, into whatever comes next.